What a day in Green Bay, Wisconsin. 60 degrees, sunny skies above Lambeau Field. As the Packers get set to host the Lions, there's Detroit head coach Jim Schwartz. His fifth season, just 1-7 against the Packers. Lions come in at 3-1. On the other side, Mike McCarthy, 13-1 during his head coaching career against the Detroit Lions. It has been a long time since the Lions won a game in the state of Wisconsin. They've lost the last 21 of the regular season plus one in the postseason. Only the Packers and Bears have played more games against one another than the Packers and Lions.
And I'm sure all those games are heavily dictated by how they play along the line of scrimmage. Jim Schwartz told us we played very well against the Vikings and the Bears. Divisional opponents, a lot of times it comes down to the battle in the trenches. And you heard Tony talk about how important that matchup is when it's the offense of the Packers trying to control that front of the Detroit Lions. It's going to be same the other way because B.J. Raji, Clay Matthews have given the Lions fits recently.
Packers won the toss, they defer, so Tim Mastane gets things started. Michael Spurlock takes it out of the end zone for the Lions. Out across the 20-yard line. So Matthew Stafford making his 50th NFL start leaves the Detroit Lions offense out onto the field, and offense without Calvin Johnson.
Yeah, without Calvin Johnson, but I think that the Lions are at a point right now where they've got confidence in everybody around them. Yeah, it's going to be impossible to replace what Calvin Johnson brings to you as an offense, but they have the players to step up and fill that void by committee.
Chris Durham and Ryan Broyles are the starting wideouts. Reggie Bush in the backfield, off to an outstanding start. And on first down, inside handoff taken out to the 30-yard line by Joique Bell for a gain of 9.
And there's the guys up front. Had some shifts. With this line, you've got 3 new starters to start the season. Larry Warford, the rookie out of Kentucky, a big body down there. They're going to be the key because one of the things that they're going to get challenged at now is with Reggie Bush there and not having to worry about Calvin Johnson on the outside. You're going to have more players down inside defending the run. How does that offensive line open up those running lanes?
Second down and 1. Empty backfield. Bush split wide to the right. Stafford to Bush for a Lions first down. Gain of 6.
This Packers defense will still have their hands full trying to shut down this Lions offense. Again, B.J. Raji, Clay Matthews, those are 2 guys that Coach Schwartz was worried about. They've had big games against them in the past. The issue right now for the Packers defense, they're not taking the ball away. Great news for them, though. Morgan Burnett back in the starting lineup for the first time this season.
He played every snap last year. Missed the first 3 games this season. First and 10 from the 35-yard line. Pass is caught by Patrick Edwards, and he takes it up close to a first down. It was Morgan Burnett who forced him out of bounds. Gain of 8.
And here's this quick style of play by this Lions offense. There's one of the guys that we'll keep an eye on, Patrick Edwards, trying to fill that void. We've seen Reggie Bush on the outside in the passing game, Joique Bell inside in the running game. Calvin Johnson on the side. Lions fans don't like seeing that. And remember, they lost Nate Burleson earlier this year, too, so your top 2 starting wide receivers coming into the season, both on the sideline today for the Lions.
Second down and 2. This is Bush, and he's bottled up.
There's that big line you talked about, Darryl, up front. Them guys do not move much. They make a nice wall up there. Keep an eye on these defensive linemen right here. Watch the line of scrimmage. Those guys, see the 2 tackles holding their guys up? They're just waiting for a cut by the back in the backfield. They just come off their blocks real nice. Linebackers play right off those guys up front. They play very well together.
It is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Our first down line today, as you see, is pink. Lions must get to the 45 for a first down. The handoff to Bell, and Joique Bell crosses our pink first down line out to the 47 for a gain of 4 to Lions first down.
We talk a lot about Reggie Bush, but Joique Bell, you have to keep your eye on him. He's a very physical runner on the inside. And they'll bring both of those guys onto the field. They started the game with Reggie Bush and Joique Bell in the backfield.
There's Reggie Bush, who is averaging 144 total yards per game, second in the NFL to LaShawn McCoy of Philadelphia. 3 receivers set. This set of downs for the Lions. Stafford's pass is caught. That is the newest Lion, Kevin Ogletree, the former Cowboy who started this season with the Tampa Bay Bucks, signed this week by the Lions.
Yeah, and this is what's going to frustrate the Packer front, because this ball will be coming out quick. You see right here a lot of cushion for that slant route to Kevin Ogletree.
$11 yards for number 11, his first catch as a Lion. Those numbers you see are with Tampa Bay. With a touchdown a couple of weeks ago against the New Orleans Saints. Bell in the backfield, off the fake to Bell. Stafford wrapped up. Down he goes. Brad Jones from East Lansing, Michigan, with his first sack of the season.
And it's going to be challenging for defensive coordinator Don Capers to match personnel. You've got Brandon Pettigrew and Joique Bell in the backfield. Those are big bodies. You're thinking run. He comes in with his standard 3-4 style of defense with the 3 big guys inside and actually brings the inside linebacker on the blitz.
Packers had 4 sacks in their last game against Cincinnati. There's defensive coordinator Don Capers. Second down and 16 following the sack. And Stafford's pass could not be handled by Bush.
That's one thing that this defense has to keep their eyes on, is all the different screens and short passes over the middle. You see them defensive linemen, they're sitting down whenever they go and feel any kind of pass over the middle, especially when it's short. See Reggie Bush here on the outside? He's coming back inside, thinking those defensive linemen are upfield. But right now they're sitting on everything, looking for that screen play.
Bush to the sidelines, third down and 16. Lions have not scored on an opening possession this season. They must get to the 32. Stafford under pressure, gets rid of it. And slipping after he made the catch was Bell. So the Lions send out the punting unit.
Matthew Stafford, tremendous confidence in being able to get the ball to his receiver from any location. You saw there a big, heavy sidearm throw. You've got those big bodies in front. That's your only angle to get it back to Joique Bell to get in that screen.
There's Randall Cobb. The Packers waived their return man, Jeremy Ross, who lost another fumble in the last Green Bay game against Cincinnati.
A lot of rain over the last couple days, too. Keep an eye on these guys going and getting some bad footing out here, because this field is a little bit soft.
Rookie out of Appalachian State, Sam Martin, punting from his 45-yard line. Aaron Rodgers and the Packers will start from their own 20-yard line when we return to Green Bay.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com.
Second home game for the Packers. Their only win came here at Lambeau over the Washington Redskins. Matthew Stafford and the Lions forced the punt on their first possession. So now Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers go to work. 3 wide receivers set on first down. The catch is made by Cobb. Randall Cobb out across the 30 for a gain of 11, a Green Bay first down.
I tell you what, sitting down with him on Friday, it was a much different Aaron Rodgers than I had experienced in the past. Very focused. He knows how important this divisional game is to getting this team back on track at this early stage of the season.
They reminded us as he hands off to Eddie Lacy, he said last year, he started started off 1-2, 2-3, finished with 11 wins.
Yeah, but you never want to have to go through that. And there's that swap that we talked about with the guards, T.J. Lang and Josh Sitton, and it's really paid some dividends in the running game. This is an offense that hasn't run the ball well recently. With the additions of Eddie Lacy and Jonathan Franklin, the running game is really coming along to complement a very impressive group of wide receivers.
Both Lacy and fullback John Kuhn are back. Both missed Packers' last game against the Cincinnati Bengals, as Lacy takes it out to the 39-yard line for a gain of 4. As we take a look at the Lions defensive unit.
Add more people to that front. First-round pick Ziggy Ansah joining that dominant front, and that makes everybody better. The linebackers now are able to free flow in your secondary, and the addition of Glover Quinn has got a lot of Lions fans excited. That safety combination on the back end playing very well.
Quinn spent the last 4 years in Houston. 3rd down and 2. Movement prior to the snap. Pink penalty flags are thrown. False start. The initial indication was false start. Jerome Boger, our referee, on the right, to the right of Aaron Rodgers.
False start. Offense, number 18. 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
False start it is. Randall Cobb, the guilty Packer.
And perhaps that was what the big discussion was. Was it going to be against the defensive end or offensive tackle Don Barclay? He's in the slot. So it wasn't really what was going on to the right side of the offensive line, actually coming all the way back to Randall Cobb on the backside.
3rd down and 7 following the penalty. Packers must get to the 41-yard line. Rodgers escapes. There is another flag as Rodgers fires downfield. He was looking for Jordy Nelson.
Aaron Rodgers is not going to be happy with himself. That's what he was talking to us about. If we can extend plays, I know I'm going to have guys open down the field. He missed an opportunity for a touchdown to Jordy Nelson on that one.
That time, Ndamukong Suh lined up way outside, almost 3 yards outside the offensive tackle. He was the one who brought the pressure on that. See Ndamukong Suh there on the outside. Really surprised Aaron went that way towards him. Like Darryl said, getting to the outside, he's going to have some receivers open.
Tripping. Defense, number 90. 10-yard penalty, 1st down.
So it is a tripping call against Ndamukong Suh.
He's going to have a lot of eyes on him. He's earned a reputation. As he's coming in, you saw Aaron Rodgers escape. As he gets in, you can see him extend that foot to try and trip Aaron Rodgers, knowing he's not going to be able to get to him.
If that happens on the inside, you don't see it. If it happens on the outside, you're going to get the flag every time. Not saying that I did that ever, Carol.
No, I can't ever see you doing something like that.
Never say never, Tony. 2 set of downs. And Cobb makes the catch, but loses 3 yards. 2nd and 13 upcoming.
And you get Ndamukong Suh, and Tony talked about, that you have to focus on him inside, but now he's to the outside. He's going against a tackle, and you just can't make an action like this, a deliberate attempt to trip the player. Inside, outside, you just can't do that.
2nd down and 13. The inside handoff to Lacy. Out to the 46. For a gain of 5, Glover Quinn made the tackle.
Really surprised this Green Bay offense attacking the middle of the field where everybody was really concerned about. I mean, they're pretty consistent with running the ball right up at Suh and Fairley.
Packers quickly up to the line. 3rd down and 8. 4 receivers set. More movement, more flags.
Aaron Roger really working that hard count, huh?
Neutral zone infraction. Defense, number 94. 5-yard penalty, still third down.
We almost got Ndamukong Suh on the opposite side on the first one, and then he, second time around, he gets Nick. He had a couple of them moving on that one.
So it is now third down and 3. Following the second Lions penalty of this possession. Play clock at 2. Rodgers to the outside. James Jones and another flag on the near side of the field away from the play.
James Jones does a nice job of getting beyond that route on his break. Push it past that pink line to try to make sure if it's a catch and an immediate tackle, you've got the yardage for the first down.
There's no foul for defensive holding on the play. The result of the play is a first down.
Officials pick up the flag, so Jones enough for the first down. First and 10 from the Lions 45. 3 wide receivers. Rodgers looking to throw. Again, over the middle this time, Jermichael Finley, the tight end, who suffered a concussion in the Cincinnati game 2 weeks ago, back in the lineup. Pickup of 2.
Yeah, and losing him early, sometimes you build a game plan and you're going to feature one of your offensive players. You see that matchup and you want to feature it. And Jermichael Finley was featured that day against Cincinnati. So to lose him early put a big challenge to that Packers offensive game plan.
Second down and 8. It's Lacey. Time for a game break. We check in with Kurt Menefee. Kurt?
Giants take the lead against the Eagles. David Wilson, 5-yard score and a double backflip to score. They're up 7-3 right now in the first quarter. Kenny Moose and Goose.
Thanks, Kurt. Giants, one of 4 winless teams in the National Football League. Early lead on Philadelphia. Third down and 6 for the Packers. They must get to the 35 for a first down. As Rodgers throws, what a catch! Cobb with one hand gathers it in for a Green Bay first down.
I tell you, it's a great catch at the finish for Randall Cobb, but a tremendous throw by Aaron Rodgers here. Look at the underneath coverage by Chris Houston, just drops it right over the top of his outstretched hand. And Randall Cobb, great finish with the one-handed tip back in.
A 22-yard pass play. Packers in the red zone from the Lions' 19-yard line. Lacey inside the 15. Drags a couple of Lions with him down to the 12. Finally brought down by Louis Delmas. A gain of 7 for the rookie out of Alabama, second-round pick, Eddie Lacy.
And you got to change up what you're doing offensively. You're going to pull and kick out here. If this is a big penetrating front, we can't just zone block all day long. We've got to give them different looks at how we want to attack them.
Second down and 3 on the slant. Catch is made for a first down by Jordy Nelson as Aaron Rodgers has started this game 6 for 6. First and goal from the 4. 4 receivers, Lacey in the backfield. Rodgers on first down, looking end zone. Can't find anyone. Down he goes. Back at the 10-yard line. Ziggy Ansah, the first-round pick out of Brigham Young.
Credit the Detroit Lions secondary on that play. Aaron Rodgers had nowhere to go. You can see he's scanning everywhere. Very close to getting a face mask penalty by Ndamukong Suh. Just got underneath it, had that jersey.
Now second and goal from the Lions 9. Quick release, it's Jones. But he's been immediately wrapped up by Chris Houston. Gain of just 1 on the play, so it will be third and goal for the Packers from the Detroit 8-yard line.
You don't want to see this. This is one of the issues against the Cincinnati Bengals. They were not real efficient once they got into the red zone. So here we are, opening drive, very nice all the way down the field. And here you hit a little bump in the road here once you get into the red zone again.
14th play of the drive. 3 wide receiver set. Rodgers on third and goal. Moving to his right. Now he throws. And the pass intended for Cobb. No flags.
Good work in the back of the end zone, because as Aaron Rodgers gets to the outside, James Jones on the backside, tight coverage there. Now you got to start working. Your quarterback is scrambling. Watch Randall Cobb, 18, as he works. He's going to go to the back. But watch Bill Bentley as he kind of works that way. He feels him going backwards. How many times have we seen Aaron Rodgers on the move and all of a sudden that stop by the receiver and the completion for a touchdown or a first down? Good coverage on the back end by Bill Bentley.
Rodgers' first incomplete pass. Here's Mason Crosby, 26-yard attempt. He gives the Packers a 3-0 lead. Long drive. Lions hold Green Bay to a field goal.
Today's game is sponsored by Bud Light, official beer sponsor of the NFL.
57th season for the Green Bay Packers here at Lambeau Field. Packers lead 3-0. A 15-play, 72-yard drive. The big sack by Ziggy Ansah after the Packers had first and goal at the Lions 4.
And then good coverage. That was good defense once the Packers got into that red zone by the Detroit Lions. As you pointed out, the defensive line controlling, getting that sack. And then the other time, some really nice coverage by the secondary and linebackers.
They hold the Packers to 3.
You know, Aaron Rodgers told us how important it would be to be able to extend plays against the front. And you remember the play early in that drive, Jordy Nelson got beyond everybody, missed that. And he had a couple chances there at the end where it was extended. That last one, he's out on the edge, but they still couldn't find a way to get that completion.
M.D. Jennings now holding for Tim Mastay. The ball blew off the tee twice. There is a flag. This is Spurlock on the return. And he's tackled at the 16-yard line by Jerron McMillan. Penalty marker back at the 2-yard line.
I'm interested to see what this was, because this was thrown immediately deep in the Detroit end where the kickoff return group was. I wonder if there was a misalignment.
Now, perhaps because the Packers had to use the holder, they did not have enough players on each side of the place kicker, Mastay.
Well, you have to have somebody outside the numbers on that kick, and maybe when he came in.
Illegal formation, kicking team. The holder came from outside the numbers to hold.
There you go.
Yeah, it was. I've never seen a flag thrown that quickly.
Illegal formation, kicking team. That penalty is declined.
I wouldn't want to decline that. You don't got very good field position.
A lot of decisions being made down there.
Formation, kicking team. 5-yard penalty will be added from the end of the run. The kicking team player who was outside the numbers came inside the numbers to hold the tee, with no player replacing him outside the numbers. 5-yard penalty. First down, Detroit.
So the Lions will start from their own 21-yard line when we return.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by the all-new 2014 Chevy Silverado. By KFC, the official sponsor of Couchgating. KFC plus football equals Couchgating. And by Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Packers Hall of Fame here at Lambeau Field. If you ever have the chance to go, don't pass it up.
Absolutely. If you can make it here and spend the weekend, highly recommend it.
Lions Great start from the 21-yard line. They head up to number 21, Reggie Bush, and he is met in the backfield by number 96, Mike Neal, a loss of 4 yards on the play.
It's going to be a challenge. What they've done effectively this year is get up in between the tackles. You can see right there it was good gap defense by the Packers. Forced Reggie Bush to the outside, and here comes all your teammates rallying up for that tackle. They've got to be able to create that separation end to end and allow Reggie Bush to get north and south.
In case you joined us late, Lions without Calvin Johnson today due to a knee injury. Second down and 14. Stafford's pass is short. He was looking for Patrick Edwards.
And you may just hear the fact that Calvin Johnson's not in the lineup. We know how great a player he's been throughout his career, but look at this production. When you talk about trying to replace a guy by committee, you can't even do that when he was playing with you. Look at this, the numbers there.
There's Calvin chatting with Nate Burleson, the other Lions starting wide receiver, also out with a broken forearm. Stafford on third down and 14. And the Lions will punt for the second time. Pass intended for the tight end, Tony Scheffler. Tramon Williams on the coverage.
Matt Stafford had plenty of time on that throw. Really surprised that he decided to throw it out of bounds.
Here's Micah Hyde back deep, the rookie out of Iowa. We mentioned Green Bay waived Jeremy Ross following their last game against Cincinnati. Sam Martin punting for the second time. Hyde backpedals to the 24-yard line. 5 yards on the return, late first quarter in Green Bay. 58-yard punt, good stand by the Packers defense. Packers lead the Lions 3-0, 14 seconds remaining first quarter. How long has it been since the Lions won a game in the state of Wisconsin? You have to go back to 1991.
And get ready for this one. Brett Favre as an Atlanta Falcon, inactive. What are they thinking down there? And probably the reason, one of the big reasons why they haven't won here since 91 is Brett Favre came to Green Bay shortly after that and was a big part of that run.
22 in a row, including postseason. 3 of the games were played in Milwaukee in 92, 93, and 94. The other 19 here in Lambeau. Here's Eddie Lacy on first down. And that is why we have been emphasizing in the state of Wisconsin. 19 of the Packer-Lion games during the streak here in Green Bay. The other 3 at Milwaukee County Stadium. First quarter comes to an end. 3-0 lead for the Green Bay Packers. 3-0 lead for the Green Bay Packers. Kenny Albert, Darryl Johnston, Tony Siragusa from Lambeau Field.
55. Ready.
On second down, this is Lacy. Lacy out to the 37-yard line, gain of 4, setting up third down and 3.
They're going right at the teeth of the defense.
Yeah.
Tony mentioned it before. You know, he talked about those 2 big tackles, but a lot of this ball control right here through the first quarter, a lot of these runs going right at Nick Fairley, going right at Ndamukong Suh.
3 receivers set, third down and 3, and the Packers keep it on the ground as Lacy spins across the 40 for a Packers first down.
And you see sometimes this happens. You see this big collapse down to the inside, and all of a sudden there's nobody there to replace. You're asking Stephen Tulloch to come all the way from the inside, a 3rd and 3. That's a tough job for him to try and prevent that first down.
Good start for Lacy. He carries 34 yards. From the 41, the toss to Lacy. Tried to cut it back inside and was tripped up by Louis Delmas. Gain of 3. 2nd and 7.
There's a handful of plays you can do when you play against a front like Detroit's that's very aggressive and upfield, screens, draws, try to get on the edge quick, but I thought it was interesting, and Ndamukong Suh said, you know, our linebackers understand that when we're up there, if they can just get outside secondary, turn them back into us. We're hustling down the line of scrimmage. We'll help you.
Off the fake to Lacey. Pass is caught by Jermichael Finley, and he uses his strength to pick up a Green Bay first down. Finally tackled by DeAndre Levy in Lions territory.
Oh, they've been very efficient in between the 20s on their opening 2 drives. Like the decision-making of Aaron Rodgers right now, taking what the defense is giving him.
Rodgers now 8 of 9. One completion came, incompletion came to the end zone. Lacey. And Lacey takes it down to the 40-yard line, a gain of 6. Time for a game break. Once again, here's Kurt.
All Seahawks so far at Indy. Russell Wilson hooking up with Golden Tate. After this, they blocked an Indy punt and recovered it for a safety. They're already up 12-0 in the first quarter, Kenny Moose and Goose.
Seahawks, one of 5 unbeaten teams. 4-0 record for Seattle. Second down at 4 as Rodgers slings it to the right, looking for Cobb.
And that's surprising to see how well Seattle's playing against Indianapolis. Expected that to be tighter. Here's some of those teams that you were talking about, Kenny, that are still out there undefeated past the quarter pole this week. I think the big surprise on that list has to be Kansas City, leading Tennessee 7-0 right now. I had a chance to visit Kansas City while they were in camp, and I tell you what, it's no fluke that they're undefeated right now. Very impressive, and don't forget, you know, that was a team that was 2-14, but 6 Pro Bowls on their roster. Very talented.
All 5 of the unbeaten teams playing on the road this week. Third down at 4. As Rodgers lost one up for Jones through his hands.
We saw the placement on the ball to Randall Cobb on that opening drive. Here's another one down at the bottom of the screen. Just a simple go route against Chris Houston, but look where this ball is at. I mean, it's right there, right to the fingertips.
So Mike McCarthy leaves his offense on the field on 4th down. It is 4th and 4 from the Lions 40. Packers 1 for 3 this year on 4th down. They must get to the 36. Rodgers fires. There is a flag as the pass was dropped by Finley. It was rolled an incomplete pass, but a flag in the defensive secondary.
Prior to the pass, holding, defense, number 28, 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
This is where Aaron Rodgers wanted to go with the ball, and he saw the tight coverage, the hold, and he quickly adjusted back to Jermichael Finley. You can see the hold right there. The impressive thing was how quickly he made that adjustment. Watch 88. He's looking at Cobb. He comes all the way back to the other side of the field and finds Finley, but he can't hold on.
So Bill Bentley commits the hold. 3rd penalty called on the Lions defense. For a new set of downs for the Packers. First carry today for the rookie out of UCLA, Jonathan Franklin. Stephen Tulloch wrapped him up after a gain of just 1.
It's like that Detroit Lions defense is almost inviting the run game in the middle. With only 4 defensive linemen and 2 linebackers, you only have 6 in the box. So it makes it really hard for a defense to go and identify every gap. So it's an inviting play, and they just got to keep running it if that's what they're going to do.
And Goose, another long drive for the Packers. 10th play of this drive as Rodgers' pass is incomplete. Ryan Taylor, young tight end, unable to make the catch.
Oh, he got all crossed up at the point of the catch. Ryan Taylor does everything right but make this play. The ball's coming in here at that weird angle. Here he's going to come out of the backfield and just release straight down the field. Watch at the point of the catch. Yeah, do I turn my hands the other way? Do I flip them back and try and catch it in stride?
He wants that one back, huh?
Third down and 9, 11th play of this Packers drive. Three wide receivers. Packers must get to the 25 as Rodgers steps up and fires. And that pass broken up by Glover Quinn. Rodgers looking for Randall Cobb. So once again, the Packers forced to settle for a field goal attempt.
And it's making plays coming out of the slot. Randall Cobb curls it over the top, a little bit underthrown. Good play on the ball by Glover Quinn.
They've had their opportunities to make some big plays, just not capitalizing.
Yeah.
Rodgers, after starting the game 7 for 7, guys, just 1 for his last 6. Couple of drops.
Yeah, a couple of big drops in there.
Here's a 52-yard attempt by Crosby. It is straight through. Crosby hit from 26 earlier. And now 52, but Rodgers a bit frustrated following the drops. 6-0 Packers. 2 Green Bay Packer possessions, 2 field goals. Packers forced to settle for 3 once again. And they lead the Lions 6-0.
Field goals don't get it done, Darryl.
No, here's 1 play away.
Spurlock will not have an opportunity to take it out. Lions offense. They trail by 6.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you gotta get DirecTV. By Corona, who invites you to find your beach this football season. And by Windows.
Back in Green Bay, Packers 6-0 lead, and they have held Reggie Bush in check.
Well, it's easier to hold Reggie Bush in check when Calvin Johnson is not on the outside and you have to worry about him, and you see the impact on his production up until this point this afternoon.
Averaging 144 total yards per game, 2 today with Calvin Johnson on the sidelines. First and 10 from the 20-yard line, off the play fake to Bush. Stafford throws, and the catch is made by Scheffler for a Lions first down, gain of 15.
Nice play action right there.
Yeah, really, you still have to respect the run. I mean, Reggie Bush has had some big games already this season, so you have to honor that play fake. And a nice play coming on the bootleg out the back door.
Three wide receivers set, Broyles in the slot. On second down, it's Bush. And he is met first by A.J. Hawk.
They're doing a really nice job inside, Tony, because when we've seen him have his big runs, they are not on the perimeter. They're between the tackles, and they are clogging up the middle.
Yeah, they're doing a nice job of just settling down in there, doing their responsibility, those big guys and the linebackers. You know, going and playing the run right off the bat. They do a little misdirection, but nobody bites on it. There's nowhere for Reggie Bush to go.
Second and 10. On the delay, it's Bush. Bush out to the 39-yard line for a gain of 4 as we check in with Kurt.
Well, the Indianapolis Colts had 15 yards of offense and 1 first down in the first quarter until this boomer from Luck to T.Y. Hilton. 73 yards later, it's another first down and the first touchdown. 12-7, Seattle up. Kenny Moose and Goose.
So the Colts are on the board. Seahawks off to their first 4-0 start in franchise history. Third down and 6 for Matthew Stafford of the Lions. Lions must get to the 45 for a first down. Stafford backpedaling. He throws. It's caught, but short. The first down is Ogletree. Now it's rolled an incomplete pass. And the Lions, for the 3rd consecutive possession, will punt it away.
Green Bay.
Offensive line for Detroit did a pretty nice job of going and picking up that rush.
And they brought the 2 linebackers on that time. Joique Bell did a good job in protection, but still, you know, you're short of the first down marker, even if you're able to hold on to that.
Rolled an incompletion, would have been 2 yards shy of a first down. Difference of 4 yards as Martin sets up back at his 24. And now a flag is thrown prior to the kick.
The layup game. Offense, number 6. 5-yard penalty. Still 4th down.
Green Bay's punt pressure team has done a nice job throughout the course of this game up until this point of giving them a lot of different looks. They're not just coming out and lining up. They're really challenging them. And right there, that was one of the reasons why you had that delayed game. You're adjusting as the personal protector, getting your guys set.
Lions' 4th penalty as Martin booms it downfield. What a kick. Cobb, who fielded it at the 6. There is a flag down. Returns it out to the 10-yard line. 56-yard punt. And there is an injured Lion. Ashley Palmer limping off.
During the kick, holding, receiving team, number 55. Half the distance to the goal. Green Bay keeps the ball. First down.
That's on Andy Malumba.
Timeout.
Officials have been busy throwing those pink penalty flags today. Packers get the ball back, leading by 6. Well, it's about much more than pink on the field. Together, the NFL and the American Cancer Society are helping women across the country make a crucial catch. Hear the personal impact stories. Find out how you can help finish the fight against breast cancer at NFL.com/pink. And over the last 4 seasons, the platform has raised more than $4.5 million for the American Cancer Society. Nearly every item visible on the field will be up for auction at NFL.com/auction, with all net proceeds benefiting the American Cancer Society.
That's been a great programming.
This keeps getting bigger and bigger.
Well, the Packers, following the penalty on special teams, start back at the 4-yard line. Rodgers looking to throw out of the end zone. He gets out, avoids a safety, and is tackled at the 5-yard line by C.J. Mosley.
That's just tremendous push from the inside and the defensive left side. I mean, Aaron Rodgers gets back, plants his foot, and he already feels the pressure. He just tucks it down and does what he can. There's something for all you young quarterbacks out there. When you make that transition, you saw the 2 hands on the ball. Now he's got to get it a little bit more secure at that point.
Israel Adonijah tried to slap it out. Mosley took a crack as well. On second down, the toss to Franklin. And Jonathan Franklin tripped up by Delmas. Gain of 3, so it will be 3rd down and 6. Franklin, foot issue a couple of weeks back, and then had a big day against Cincinnati. Rushed for 103 yards in the absence of Eddie Lacy. Packers without James Starks, one of their other running backs, due to a knee injury. Starks had a 100-yard game against Washington back in week 2. Third down and 6. Rodgers steps up and throws, and a diving catch is made for a first down by Jordy Nelson out of the 19-yard line. 11-yard pickup.
One of the things that we've talked about is this front being penetrators and getting upfield, but they're also athletic and they'll twist around and do different things. This is a nice job by the Packers, recognizing those twists, passing that game, not allowing the defensive end to grab and hold you and free up an interior lineman.
From the 19, late handoff, and the ball comes loose on the handoff to Franklin, and then Rodgers is tackled at the 16-yard line by DeAndre Levy, so a loss of 3.
Looks like we got a helmet right on the football.
And remember, it was Franklin who committed that key fumble in the fourth quarter in Cincinnati, which was returned for the game-winning score.
Heads up play right there.
And knocked out by Ziggy Ansah. And Rodgers on the recovery. 2nd down and 13. Rodgers screen, Lacy, but it did not fool DeAndre Levy.
It's really hard against this defense to go and pull off a screen as many as their offense runs. They see him all during camp. Offensive line does a nice job, but Levy goes and identifies it, weaves his way through, gets in the backfield, and makes a secured open field tackle like that. That's a great play.
Yeah, they did the hard part, Tony. They got the defensive lineman to bite, but a heck of a tackle by DeAndre Levy out there. There was 3 Packers out there to escort in the screen element.
Levy, born in Milwaukee, attended the University of Wisconsin, looking to win a game in Wisconsin for the first time as a pro. As Rodgers fires, Jordy Nelson, what a catch, spectacular reception by Nelson for a Packers first down.
He just snatched that one right out of the air, huh, Darryl?
You ain't kidding, because Glover Quinn is there right as the ball arrives. That's one of those plays where it's a nice catch by the receiver and a nice play by the safety. Jordy Nelson just a little bit better on that play.
A 26-yard pass play. Packers started this drive at their own 4. Now from the 39-yard line. On the toss, Lacy cuts it back inside. Nice run by Lacy as he gains 8. And we head to Los Angeles once again. Kurt Menefee.
Seattle blocked an Indy punt for safety. The Colts returned the favor, blocking a field goal attempt right into the hands of Delano Howell. He takes it 61 yards. A little maneuver there at the end to get past the holder. 14-12. Colts with the lead in the second quarter. Kenny Moose and Goose.
All right, Kurt, so Indianapolis coming back after falling behind by 12 at home. And they now lead the unbeaten Seahawks by 2. The pile was pushed forward. Now we'll see if Lacy gets a favorable spot. Looks like it'll be placed down a yard shy of the pink first down line. So Mike McCarthy now facing a 3rd down and 1.
He's got to be happy with his running game. They're doing a nice job again this afternoon. That Cincinnati defensive front, that's a good front. If you have a good day running the football against Cincinnati, that's a hard day's work. So this is the 2nd game in a row that this offensive line has blocked well against a good front in the run game.
Season high, 52 yards for Lacy in the first half. Rodgers' pass is batted back. It's Levy again. It's an incomplete pass. It was a forward pass. And DeAndre Levy, who made that tremendous tackle earlier this drive, got a hand on it.
You're going to catch him up here at the top of the screen. Watch the eyes on the quarterback. And that is just tremendous hand-to-eye concentration to be able to get that deflection.
So Mastay back to punt for the first time. Packers with long field goal drives their first 2 possessions. And now they set up to punt it away with just under 4 minutes remaining, second quarter. Here in Green Bay, busy first half for Jerome Boger and his crew.
Good job by that offense, though, getting off the back end and taking it out from the 4. They got an opportunity to flip field position right here.
Low snap handled by Mastay. And a fair catch called for at the 11 by Michael Spurlock. 41-yard kick. Lions defense comes up big.
Today's game is sponsored by the 2013 Ford F-150 with EcoBoost.
6-0 lead for the Packers here at Lambeau. Rough start offensively for the Detroit Lions without Calvin Johnson. They've punted 3 times, only 4 first downs, 50 yards of offense.
And this was an offense that was functioning very, very well. With that element of challenging the defense, how are you going to stop us? You're going to shut down Calvin Johnson down the outside, leave yourself vulnerable to that run game inside? Not an option this afternoon.
Stafford swings it out. This is Bush out of the backfield. And Reggie Bush gains 3 out to the 14-yard line. Williams and Burnett on the tackle.
Tell you what, those offensive linemen for Detroit, every time there's a ball thrown downfield, those guys are hustling down there, helping their guy up off the ground. Doing a great job. Nice to see teamwork like that.
You see the distribution by Matthew Stafford right there, and that's what happened when Calvin Johnson's on the sideline watching the game.
2nd down and 6. This is Bush up the middle. Good second effort by Reggie Bush, and he's close to a Lions first down.
It's funny talking to Reggie Bush, and he said the big thing that happened to him, in his opinion, when he came into the NFL, is he was still thinking of himself as a playmaker from his days at USC, and that's what was going to be expected of him at the NFL level, make plays. And he said, I kind of got away from the basics of being a runner. And he said, really the big transition for me is understanding what defenses are trying to do, not always trying to make that big splash play, taking what the defense has given him, and he's become a much better running back as his career has progressed.
Bush out, Bell in, 3rd down and 1, and Joy Bell picks up a first down, running hard. Out to the 33-yard line as we approach the 2-minute warning here at Lambeau Field in Green Bay. Lions 22 consecutive defeats in the state of Wisconsin, 19 here in Lambeau, and with 2 minutes remaining in the first half, it is a 6-0 lead for the hometown Packers. Back in Green Bay, 6-0 Packers, 2 minutes to go in this first half. Lions without Calvin Johnson, inactive due to a knee injury. Clay Matthews had some hamstring issues, but he's on the field, and Calvin Johnson can only watch. Stafford on first down. Hand off to Bush. Bush out to the 26-yard line. Gain of 4.
It's interesting when you're watching the pre-snap, even with Calvin Johnson out, it's kind of a typical defense that you would see if he was in the lineup. I mean, Reggie Bush is having the opportunity to run into quite a few 6-man box fronts for the Green Bay Packers. Surprising to see them playing that style.
Packers use their first timeout. Welcome back, 6-0 Packers. 2nd down and 6 for the Lions, who have all 3 of their timeouts from the 27-yard line. Stafford looking to throw on 2nd down. Unable to get rid of it. Down he goes. Sacked for the 2nd time today. It's Mike Neal, and now the Packers use their 2nd timeout.
Coverage sack on that one, Darryl.
But, again, you're rushing 4 guys, dropping everybody back to coverage. That's the opportunity. You're just going to have to keep running Reggie Bush, even in situations like the 2-minute. If you're a check with me at the line of scrimmage offense based on what the defense is giving you, you still got to stay true to your philosophy. And even though Calvin Johnson's not there, if you're getting that same look from the Packers defense that allows you to run, you're going to have to try that. Otherwise, you get that, Tony, exactly. The coverage sack with 7 people dropping into coverage.
Saw Stafford listening to offensive coordinator Scott Linehan. Only 6 completions. Stafford 6 of 10 without Calvin Johnson today. Only 2 completions to the wide receivers. Empty backfield, 3rd down and 10. Lions must get to the 33. And they do, as the catch is made by Ryan Broyles, the 2nd-year receiver out of Oklahoma. Out of the 45, a 22-yard pass play. So that quiets the crowd. Only the 3rd completion to a wideout for Stafford today. Lions, as we mentioned, have all 3 of their timeouts. As Stafford dumps it off, and Bush unable to make the catch.
Had a little bit of running room to the outside. And this is another way to get it to him, right, Tony? Just sneak him through that line. Drop it down to him, see if he can make something happen one-on-one in the open field.
Hey, with the moves he has, and we see him go and pull on people, that's exactly where you want him. You want to get him the ball, get him in that secondary. Just one-on-one, he's tough to take down.
Lions need about 20 yards to get into field goal range for David Akers. Second down and 10 from the 45. Stafford fires incomplete, looking for Edwards.
A little high on that throw, but that's one of the looks that you're hoping to have the opportunity to get that ball down the field. Green Bay is adding people to the rush in that situation, so you're going to get that favorable coverage situation in the secondary.
Third down and 10. Stafford on third down. He throws, and the catch is made for a first down. And breaking free and then hurdling a tackler is Pettigrew. Brandon Pettigrew takes it all the way down to the 28-yard line. He hurdled Devon House 25 yards on the catch and run.
Deep little in route right here. M.D. Jennings has an opportunity to make the tackle. And there's some athleticism by the big man down the field. Shake, rattle, and hurdle.
Right there.
So the Lions now in field goal range. What's coming up? At halftime, we check in with Kurt Menefee.
Coming up on the Visa Halftime Report, the Chiefs and Patriots look to stay perfect, and the Jaguars try to get one in the win column. That and more when Jimmy Johnson, Michael Strahan, Howie Long, and Terry Bradshaw join me at halftime on the Visa Halftime Report. That's stiff even for Howie, isn't it?
Well, very serious looks on the faces of Jimmy and Michael. What's going on in L.A.?
I don't know. They were entrenched in something.
Did Howie jump in that Cletus uniform? Where was Howie?
We'll have to find out. Stay tuned at halftime. Visa Halftime Report with Kurt and the gang. This is the deepest penetration for the Lions in this first half. From the Packers 30. Stafford's pass is caught at the 25-yard line. It's Broyles once again. Under a minute remaining. Lions still have 2 timeouts, and they are in field goal range. Second down and 5. 3 wide receiver set. Bush in the backfield. Stafford throws. And Durham took a hard hit. Took a couple of hard hits while recovering onside kicks in last week's game against Chicago.
Yeah, he's taking another one right here. Coming into the middle of the field with your safety sitting back deep.
M.D. Jennings, number 43. So now third down and 5. 35 seconds remaining in the half. Durham to the sidelines. 12th play of the drive for Detroit. Stafford being chased. There is a flag. As Stafford picks up a first down. Took a shot from A.J. Hawk as he headed out of bounds. There is a penalty flag. We'll check in with Jerome Boger. It's a hold against the Lions.
Holding, offense, number 71. 10-yard penalty, replay, third down.
Left tackle, Riley Reef.
Working against number 96 there. You can see in your picture right there, kind of reaching out at the end with Mike Neal getting the pressure, goes up the field, comes underneath, along with Clay Matthews.
Third down and 15 following the penalty from the 35-yard line. Stafford on third down, hit as he throws, deflected, incomplete.
His receivers working go routes on the outsides. 2 deep vertical routes.
Now keep in mind the penalty as we take another look. David Akers comes out to attempt what would have been a 43-yard field goal had the Lions not lost 10 yards on the Reef penalty. So it's now a 53-yarder. He tied the NFL record last time he played here at Lambeau with a 63-yard field goal for San Francisco last season. And Akers connects from 53. Despite the penalty, move it back 10 yards, but Akers comes through once again here at Lambeau.
He had plenty of leg on that one.
He's still got a strong leg even at this stage of his career.
38 years of age in his 16th season. 6-time Pro Bowler with the Eagles. Replaced Jason Hanson. You talk about tough luck. Hanson 0-19 during his career here at Lambeau Field. But now it's Akers following the retirement of Hanson. Well, Fox tonight, scariest night of the year comes early. Animation domination. All new Halloween episodes, including The Simpsons Treehouse of Horror. It's all new tonight, starting at 7, 6 Central, right here on Fox. All field goals here in the first half. There's Jonathan Franklin back deep for the Packers. So, with 15 seconds remaining in this first half, stay tuned for the Visa Halftime Report with Kurt, Terry, Howie, and a very intimidating looking right side of that desk, Michael and Jimmy. It's coming up, the Visa Halftime Report. Lions on the board with the late field goal as they cut the Packers lead to 3 late in this first half. Packers keep it on the ground with Lacey, and we'll let the clock run down. 2 long drives to start the game for the Packers, but they come away with field goals, not touchdowns. 22 straight over the Lions in Wisconsin. With one hand. We are back at Lambeau Field. Packers lead the Lions 6-3 as we get set to start the third quarter. Darryl, halftime numbers.
Yeah, kind of bland right there, Kenny. And I'm surprised that Green Bay hasn't been able to do more. I think the big problem right now is the fact that they're unable to finish these drives. You had an opportunity early in the game on the opening drive, settled for a field goal. A couple chances with some plays to be made, and they didn't make those. So not having Calvin Johnson, and I agree with Jimmy Johnson on halftime, that when you lose a player of that caliber, it shifts your dynamics more than any other player in the NFL. So for them to be down just 6-3 right now is pretty impressive in the first half. And we talked about who's going to step up and who's going to help out with Calvin being out of the lineup. And you think about receivers and things like that, it's been the defense. The defense has done a heck of a job holding their end of the bargain.
And the Packers defense has held Reggie Bush in check without Calvin Johnson available on the Lions offense. Goose.
Hey, got a chance to talk to Mike McCarthy coming out. You know, he said we did exactly what we wanted to do. We wanted to establish the run early in this game and then get some big plays off of this play action. In the second half, we have to go and capitalize. We got to go and make some big plays happen. But the biggest thing is we have to find the end zone. We can't just win with threes.
Follow your favorite team all season long. Go to iTunes.com/NFL. Remember, the Packers won the toss. They deferred, so Green Bay will get the ball first here in the second half. Jonathan Franklin back deep. Packers will start from their own 20-yard line. Aaron Rodgers, 11 of 17 in the first half. 88 yards. We spoke to him on Friday. He said we're a younger team, second youngest offense in the NFL as far as the starters go, but he said we are hungry, especially coming off the early bye week.
And you can go back to last season and say, hey, you know, it's the same thing happened to us last year, that loss out in Seattle, and we found ourselves at 1-2, and actually even got to 2-3 before they got things turned around. But you don't want to relive scenarios like that. They just need to come out and play well with that youthful energy that he talked about.
Relay team.
From the 20-yard line on first down, it's Lacy. And Eddie Lacy, hard to bring him down. Gains 9 on the first play from scrimmage of this third quarter.
Again, the majority of their success in the running game has been going right at the two big guys on Detroit. They're going right into the teeth of that defensive front. You get that wide, those wide alignments. You saw the double team kickouts, and then you lead up on the middle linebacker.
62 yards for Lacy. Off the fake to Lacy. Rodgers' pass is caught for first down by Jermichael Finley. Gain of 7. Well, low scoring first half here in Green Bay. Yet coming into this game, you have the Broncos averaging just under 45 per game, and then the next 4 teams all from the NFC North.
Yeah, and look, you see our score here at 6-3. Chicago only has 7 points against New Orleans. So
You think these two teams know each other pretty well?
And the Vikings goose with a bye today, coming off their win over the Steelers in London as Lacy takes it out to the 39-yard line for a gain of 3. So only 1 touchdown scored so far today by an NFC North team, Chicago, and they trail New Orleans 20-7. Saints, one of the 5 unbeaten teams.
Ready, set.
Open prior to the snap.
False start. Offense, number 67. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
That's Don Barclay.
Yeah, boy, if he just holds his ground right there, he gets 2 or 3 defensive linemen that jump. Miscommunication. Don't know that snap count. Sometimes you got to just go ask the guy next to you.
And hope he knows.
Yeah. Well, at least 2 of you will be offsides. Can he can always blame it on somebody else.
2 years?
2 years. Never heard of that?
How do you spell that? Second down at 12. The slant. It's Finley. Michael Finley out to the 40-yard line. He picks up 5. Talked about the injury, the concussion suffered 2 weeks ago in Cincinnati. Set a franchise record last season for a tight end with 61 receptions.
He's been a matchup problem since he came into the NFL, and he was really starting to hit his stride last year, so hopefully he'll be able to bounce back.
Third down and 7. Rodgers under pressure. Throws it away. He felt the pressure from Ziggy Ansah.
So you go into a game and you've got a plan for your tight end. You like the matchup. You're getting him down the seam. Or you hand it off to Eddie Lacy. There's his concussion there. So these are the 2 guys as your playmakers in the backfield. And this is that running game that you've heard so much about. I've been very impressed with how Green Bay has run the ball this afternoon. Good to see Eddie Lacy back out there on the field.
Lacy coming back from the concussion suffered against Washington week 2, and Finley from the concussion suffered week 3 against Cincinnati. Lions trailing by 3. Mastay not happy that he could not keep the 60-yard punt out of the end zone.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. By the new 2014 Dodge Durango. By Miller Lite. It's not just a good time, it's Miller time. And by Taco Bell. Sometimes you gotta live Moss.
You get in on some of that pool action, Goose?
A lot of it, Kenny. Plenty of places to go around the Green Bay area to have a little billiards contest.
Beautiful day here in Green Bay. Lions trailing by 3 as Stafford's pass is caught by Ogletree Out to the 29-yard line for a gain of 9. Second reception for Kevin Ogletree. Released by the Buccaneers. Does that sound familiar?
Yeah. Interesting transition going on down in Tampa Bay.
They released Ogletree, and then this week, Josh Freeman released by the Bucs. On 2nd and 1. Good job by the swarming Packers defense, led by Clay Matthews, to wrap up Reggie Bush. So Tampa Bay, one of the teams still looking for their first win, 0-4. And they released their starting quarterback, at least their starting quarterback prior to last week, Josh Freeman.
And we had Tampa Bay versus New England in the preseason, week 2 of the preseason, and every opportunity was afforded to Josh Freeman to maintain his job. Now they have Mike Glennon in there as the backup. He played well in week 1, played well again week 2, but they're just going in a different direction. It wasn't working out for Coach Schiano and Josh Freeman. He was released, and now he's going to have an opportunity to really sit back and find out which team he would like to go to. Where is the best opportunity for him to become the starting quarterback?
On first down is Scheffler. Scheffler gaining 6 out to the 35-yard line. And you think back to last season, and Josh Freeman set franchise records in Tampa Bay for passing yards and touchdowns in one season. Starts 3 games in 2013, and now he's on the street.
I think it's the other element that Josh Freeman is struggling, and we saw the stats from last year. You know, you watch him, he's prototypical in size, but really that leadership quality, I don't know if that leadership quality was there. What Coach Schiano was looking for in his franchise quarterback must not have been apparent to him, and they chose to go in a different direction.
On 2nd and 5, taken out to the 37-yard line by Joy Bell. So 3rd down and 3 coming up for the Lions.
Kenny, you mentioned that defensive line for Green Bay, and those linebackers really going and playing the run strong up on the line of scrimmage. Having a hard time establishing this Detroit offense. The 3rd down and 3, let's see what they do here.
Third down and 3. Stafford a pump fake. Now he throws, and it's Bush. Reggie Bush picks up a Lions first down.
Well, I like what they're doing now. They're not allowing Matthew Stafford to sit back in the pocket. Watch 50, A.J. Hawk. He adds himself into the rush. They run a twist to the outside, but it's a tough matchup on the outside. Reggie Bush, even versus a safety, gosh, look at the moves on him. He absolutely freezes Jerron McMillan.
10 touches for Bush today, and that was his longest gain, 10 yards. But he did pick up the first down. From the 47-yard line, it's Bush. Nowhere to go. Clay Matthews, his teammate at USC. Bush's last season with the Trojans, Matthews was a walk-on linebacker.
Yeah, I talked about the passion that he had for the game, but not the physical stature at that time yet. But again, the Green Bay Packer defensive front is doing a great job of clogging all the running lanes and not allowing Reggie Bush to get north and south.
Averaging 144 combined yards per game, only 31 today, as the Packers defense able to focus on Bush with Calvin Johnson inactive. Empty backfield, and the Lions took too much time.
Delay of game. Offense, number 9. 5-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
They've shown him a lot of different looks, and that time when they emptied the backfield, the Green Bay Packers showed pressure to come on Matthew Stafford, so he had to make some adjustments. Got beyond the play clock.
That's one thing they wanted to do, Darryl, going into this game, is get Matthew Stafford out of the pocket, moving on his feet. They think when he does that and gets out of the pocket, that's when he makes bad decisions and big plays happen for the defense.
2nd and 15. Stafford under pressure. Down he goes. 3rd sack for the Packers. It is Nick Perry, the Detroit native.
Coming from the defensive right side, number 53. It's either going to be a sack or a hold. There was no flag thrown on that, but Riley Reiff doing a little wrestling move out there at the left tackle spot.
How about this? Perry with the sack. Grew up in Detroit. Martin Luther King High School. As a senior, he set a state record with 36 sacks. How about that, Goose? 36 sacks.
36.
And now he brings down Stafford. Third down and 22. Pass is caught. A.J. Hawk loses his helmet, makes the tackle, but there is a flag. It's against the Lions.
Ineligible player downfield. Offense, number 70. That penalty decline. 4th down.
A.J. Hawk is really getting very comfortable in his role on this defense right now. He's the inside linebacker. It's great read. It's great preparation because it's that double screen. Matthew Stafford fakes the screen out to his left. They're bringing another screen in from the right side, and he read it perfectly, put himself in a position to make the tackle.
How about Sam Martin's numbers, averaging over 53 yards per punt today. Randall Cobb back deep for the Packers. Midway through the third quarter. Another terrific kick by Martin. And Cobb is down at the 12. 57-yard punt. Packers back on offense, lead by 3. Kenny Albert, Daryl Johnston, Tony Siragusa in Green Bay. Lion fans hoping to change the win column from a 0 to a 1. 22 consecutive defeats in the state of Wisconsin. What a hole on first down, and Cobb takes it down the sideline, wants to cut inside, and is finally tackled at the 22-yard line.
You got to have an alert right there. Randall Cobb is in the backfield. You've usually Eddie Lacy, Jonathan Franklin. All of a sudden, did you see 18 back there? Uh-oh, guess what that means? We've got speed in the backfield this time. Louis Delmas used to coming in and taking the angle on an Eddie Lacy type. All of a sudden, it's number 18, and he's got the wrong approach to make that tackle.
67 yards for Randall Cobb, longest run of the season by a Green Bay Packer. From the Lions 22, it's Cobb again on the toss. 5 more on the ground for Randall Cobb. 2 carries, 72 yards.
It's amazing watching this defense from down here on the field. They just want to know what's going on. They're talking to each other. They're trying to find out where are these holes opening up. They got to start playing more together, stop getting so much penetration and paying that line of scrimmage a little bit better.
163 yards up until that long Cobb run. He's gained 72 the last 2 plays. And now Rodgers complete to Jermichael Finley. Win the tackle. But Randall Cobb does it all for these Packers. Last season, franchise record, 2,342 all-purpose yards. First player in league history, 900 receiving yards and 900 kick return yards in one season.
Yeah, but this is where the Packers have to get it going. They've been good in between the 20s, but they have stalled in the red zone and have had opportunities to make big plays on the fringe of the red zone and have been forced to kick field goals.
Again, it is Cobb. Starts in the backfield, and now Packers empty the backfield. Cobb, bottom of your screen. And a timeout is taken. With 5:13 remaining. Third quarter, Cobb and the Packers on the move.
Nick Fairley over on the sideline trying to catch his breath. You know you're tired when the mouth is wide open, Goose.
Absolutely, man. I'll tell you, he jogged over to the side. Mosley came in for him, but he's looking to get a rest. That long run, boy, he tried to run downfield a little bit too much. Spent.
All right, third down and 1 for the Packers off the fake to Cobb. Rodgers throws it through the corner of the end zone. So the Packers unable to convert once again on third down.
That is so well defensed by Detroit. And it's one of those plays where once you see the bootleg, the routes are kind of the same. There's going to be somebody shallow, there's going to be somebody intermediate, and somebody down in the end zone. And they had somebody on every element of this play. There's your deep with Jordy Nelson. He's all locked down. Your intermediate route coming from the opposite side of the field was locked down. Mike McCarthy wants pass interference in the end zone.
So here's Mason Crosby. He's hit 2 of 2 from 26 and 52 yards out. This will be a 31-yard attempt from the right hash. Mastay places it down. Crosby now 3 for 3. So the Packers extend their lead to 6. December 15th, 1991. Last time the Lions won a game in the state of Wisconsin. Eric Kramer was their starting quarterback. Big day for Barry Sanders. Mel Gray, 78-yard punt return for a touchdown. Head coach Wayne Fonts. Lions won the game 21-17, but since then, 22 consecutive defeats in Wisconsin. 19 here in Lambeau, 3 in Milwaukee. Randall Cobb, a couple of big runs, including a 67-yarder, but the Packers settle for 3 once again. Lions will start from their own 20. Well, on Saturday, the American League's best teams will look to their brightest stars. It's the American League Championship Series. Will it be the Tigers or the A's? Red Sox lead the Rays 2-0. The ALCS Game 1, Saturday, 7:30 Eastern. Joe Buck, Tim McCarver right here on Fox.
Great game last night, Detroit and Oakland.
A's winning 1-0, and Raiders forced to play tonight as they change from baseball to football out in Oakland. Reggie Bush on first down. Again, not much. Gain of 2. Never be without football. Get coverage of every NFL game on NFL Mobile. Call ** NFL to download it now.
Hey, Darryl, really surprised Brandon Pettigrew is really not more active in this game. He's such a big target over the middle. Using it for a lot of blocking, but that's the guy that I thought would be more involved in this game.
Had the one big catch at the end of the half, but yeah, you'd think there'd be more balls headed his way from Matthew Stafford.
That was it. Just one reception for Pettigrew, 25 yards. Stafford looking for him there, and he's unable to make the catch, Goose.
And that's his spot. That's the area of the field that he works really, really well. Working against Clay Matthews. Just going to push him up and snap it out. Good location with the ball by Matthew Stafford. Maybe he's got to make that catch.
Yeah, just doesn't have the confidence in him to make catches like that. That's why he's not going for it.
He had a nice game last week. I think he's getting his confidence back. He struggled with drops throughout his career, but that was a tough one there.
Third down and 7. Lions must get to the 30 for a first down. And that time, Stafford looking for his roommate at the University of Georgia, Chris Durham. Incomplete. Lions will punt it away.
Again, it's a nice job of protection. This new offensive line combination for the Lions, a little bit more stout up front. They're solidifying that pocket. Green Bay's bringing pressure. Good step up block by Joique Bell.
Nice job of getting their hands up, too. Standing right behind Matthew Stafford. He couldn't even see the receiver on that last play.
Sam Martin punting to Micah Hyde. Takes it at the 31. Flag. Once again on special teams. 3-yard return by Hyde. And some extracurricular activity out at midfield.
David House was working on his guy down the field, and he wouldn't let him up. He got him on the ground, and every time he went to get up, he pushed him back down onto the ground, and his Lions teammates were coming onto the field.
Return, holding, return team, number 31. 10-yard penalty. Green Bay kicks the ball. First down.
All right, if you want to take the guy to the ground and with a hold, that's not a big deal. If you want to knock him onto the ground and do it, that's cool. Tough day at the office for our quarterbacks. Now, Matthew Stafford is obviously going to be down a little bit because Calvin Johnson isn't in the lineup. But Aaron Rodgers, he's been accurate with his throws, but he's had a couple of drops. But you'd expect much better numbers at this stage of the game from both of these quarterbacks.
Think back to the game 2 years ago when Stafford set a franchise record here at Lambeau, threw for 520 yards. Rodgers moving to his right. There is a flag as Rodgers fires downfield, too far for Jones.
Holding. Offense, number 69. 10-yard penalty. Replay, first down.
That's the rookie left tackle David Bakhtiari out of Colorado.
It's one of the problems you had. If Aaron Rodgers really wants, he's going to come back this way. You'll see him as he's coming out of that left tackle spot. But if you're going to extend plays, this is the issue that you can have. You know, your tackle's not going to let a defensive lineman take a free shot at you. So you can get a couple of holding calls as you're getting outside the pocket.
I didn't agree with that call there.
Is that 2 weeks in a row he's actually stuck up for an offensive lineman?
Yeah, you know, if I could see if the defensive lineman went down to the ground or something, but I mean, he just slowed him up a little bit. It wasn't like it was a big all-time hold.
Might be 3 weeks. First down and 20. Here's Cobb, spins away from one tackle. Takes it out to the 17. By the way, a note on that 67-yard run by Cobb on the last drive. Longest run by a Packers non-running back since Mike Tomczak. Quarterback 48-yard run back in November of '91. 3 weeks before, Tomczak,
not that 91, was it?
Lost to the Lions.
Yeah, well, if you've got somebody who's great in space, you know, from the wide receiver spot, you know, do different things. Bring him into the backfield. Let him have a carry. You know, that play right there is just a quick pass. It comes like an extended running play. Working out of the slot right here.
Lacey in the backfield, second down and 15. Rodgers fires downfield. James has it. And James Jones will take it all the way for a Packers touchdown. 83 yards. Pull him up.
Give him a boost. Oh, you got to finish the Lambeau lead.
That's a pretty long run with those legs.
We showed you Randall Cobb in the slot. It was James Jones on the outside. I don't know if Chris Houston thought he had safety help over the top. Louis Delmas has got the deep half of that field, and if you saw to the inside, you also saw Randall Cobb off that slot release getting vertical down the field. They got Louis Delmas in a tough spot, but Chris Houston played him to the outside, turned around, and realized that there was nobody there to take over James Jones as he passed him through coverage.
Last season, Jones led the NFL with 14 touchdown receptions. It's his second this year. Career long reception, 83 yards. Crosby the extra point. And the Packers lead by 13. Rodgers celebrates, and then Jones attempts the Lambeau lead. 83-yard touchdown reception by James Jones. First touchdown in today's game, and the Packers now lead 16-3.
That's a perfect play call for the coverage Detroit was in. Here's Louis Delmas right here. You're going to have vertical and vertical. And watch what happens when Louis Delmas makes his decision. I mean, look at that play call. He breaks there. He's already stuck. He's focused on Randall Cobb. He's had the big game today, but they had two verticals on into that coverage.
And that's exactly who Aaron Rodgers was looking at the whole time, that safety. As soon as he saw him bite, bam, down the field.
Lions start from the 20. From trickery is Bell. Puts it back to Bush. And Bush losing his footing, but that's his biggest play of the day.
That's Stafford getting down there on the block. I don't know if he hit anybody, but he was running downfield pretty well.
It's not bad speed either. I mean, Reggie Bush isn't really gaining a whole lot of ground on him. Pretty athletic, right? Yeah.
Looks like he stepped right on Stafford's foot and slid out.
Bush gains 20. Had only 14 yards on the ground up until that play. 2.5 remaining, third quarter. Packers have opened up a 13-point lead. Off the fake to Bush. Stafford to the outside, and a nice catch is made by Durham. He's 6'6", and he had to go even higher up for that one, and he gains 8.
This one sails a little bit on Matthew Stafford going to the outside. Look at the extension. That's nice.
Now second down and 2. There's Bush to the outside, turns the corner. First down and more for Reggie Bush. Down to the Packers' 40-yard line as he gains 12.
Green Bay's done a nice job the majority of the afternoon with their contain, really kind of bottling Reggie Bush up inside, not allowing him to get to that edge.
So 32 yards on the last 2 carries for Bush. Packers linebacker Robert Francois helped off. He was already in the game for starter Brad Jones, who suffered a hamstring injury earlier. So the Packers have lost 2 linebackers. They lead by 13 with 1.5 minutes remaining, third quarter. Jamari Lattimore, number 57, is in for Francois. First and 10 from the Packers 40. Stafford, a pump fake. Now he throws. There is a flag. Interception by Sam Shields. Came out of bounds.
Going to be interesting to see which way this flag goes. I thought it was played well by the Packer defender on a double move.
While the quarterback was in the pocket, illegal contact, defense number 37, 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Sam Shields.
Let's take a look at the outside. Kevin Ogletree, number 11, working to see if it's a double move, the little stutter and go. You know, now he's got the right to that part of real estate. He kind of squared his shoulders and fronted up Kevin Ogletree on the double move. So I understand the reasoning of the call. I might have let it go as a no call right there. I thought it was played well by Sam Shields on the double move, and he was just holding his ground. He's got a right to that part of the field.
From the 35, following the penalty, here's Bush. Up the middle, spins down to the 34-yard line. Gain of 1. Again, in case you joined us late, Lions without Calvin Johnson. It's only the 5th game he's missed in his career. Missing a road game for only the 2nd time. And the other was right here at Lambeau, 2009. And the Lions were shut out in that game, 26-0.
He's hard to replace. I mean, you heard the guys at the halftime show talk about it. I don't think losing a player impacts a team more across the NFL than when you lose Calvin Johnson. I mean, what he did last year when they were one-dimensional was just absolutely amazing.
Got a league record for receiving yards last season. Stafford on 2nd and 9 to the end zone, and it is broken up. Morgan Burnett got a piece of it. Patrick Edwards, the intended receiver.
Great story that Dom Capers shared with us about Morgan Burnett, and you know, he's your communicator in the background. And it's week 1 of the NFL season. On Friday, they come to him and say, hey, you're going to have Morgan Burnett tomorrow or this Sunday in the game. And he's like, you got to be kidding me. That's like telling Mike McCarthy, you don't have Aaron Rodgers. He's beat. He gets the hand up. I mean, instinctively, never got his head around to find the ball or the quarterback, but read the eyes of the wide receiver, got his hand up to knock it away.
It's like they hear that ball coming.
Play clock at 1. Lions get the snap off with an empty backfield. Down goes Stafford. Clay Matthews with his 3rd sack of the season and the 4th. by the Packers today.
All right, Tony, take that pass protection and just throw it in the trash can. If you've got some type of protection where you turn 52 loose, it's not a good design.
Yeah, you got to account for him. Here he is on the outside. You got it. I mean, they just slide away. The tight end's there. Doesn't even go and acknowledge him at all. I mean, that's just a free play for him. And he's one of the guys you don't want to let free. They're one of the big guys inside free, right, Darryl? That's what you're thinking.
Somebody, not 52.
They're one of the heavier guys that might be a little bit slower and a little athletic, less athletic ability.
Third quarter has come to an end. Green Bay Packers, 22 straight wins in their home state over the Lions by 13 as we head to the fourth. Green Bay Packers scored 10 in the third quarter, now lead 16-3. Packers coming off their bye week, an early bye week, and Darryl, that's something you know about.
Yeah, it was funny listening to the talk with the Packers. You know, how is this going to impact us? But two of our Super Bowls came off of bye weeks after week 3.
Martin punch from his own 45-yard line. Bounces into the end zone. Packers will start from the 20.
Well, there's been a lot of talk about this Lions team, the addition of Reggie Bush and the offense and the run game, Glover Quinn in the defense, but I think it's resiliency. In the first offensive snap of the game, Adrian Peterson scores a touchdown. You go to Washington, which is your second longest streak against an opponent, and you throw a pick 6 early in that game. A team that's beat you 9 out of the last 10 times, you take the lead and you allow Matt Forte to go untouched, to go down 10-6. And then today, you find out that Calvin Johnson's not going to be in the lineup. These guys have been able to overcome adversity through the first 4 games. Can they do it again today?
Press. Line force line.
Lions defense on the field. Packers start from the 20 with a 13-point lead. Eddie Lacy up the middle. Gain of 7.
Well, after that last defensive series, Clay Matthews heading into the locker room. Now, he had a hamstring in that Cincinnati game going into the bye week. Came out early in that game, so he didn't do anything more to it. But hopefully that's just running in to get refreshed and then back out here.
Yeah, it was running, not walking in. So hopefully good news for the Packers. Second down and 3. Rodgers with time. Now he fires downfield. And the officials will get together, and it's ruled a catch. Jordy Nelson able to make the catch, got both feet down in bounds, according to the officials at the Lions 42. Let's check it out.
Tremendous job working the sideline. Does he have possession? Are his feet in, and does he maintain possession through the catch?
Packers quickly up to the line.
And they didn't need to.
Nope.
Jordy Nelson did all 3. He really, Aaron Rodgers just kind of threw it out there. Hey, Jordy Nelson, he's back to his form from 2011, and you don't really think about it, but he was banged up last year and didn't play at the level we saw him the year before. He's had 2 outstanding catches this afternoon.
Second down and 7 from the Lions 39. 3 wide receivers set. Cobb in the slot.
Ready.
Off the fake to Lacy. Rodgers takes off. Not exactly how they drew it up.
Yeah, I hope not. That's another one. We'll throw out the Detroit protection that turns Clay Matthews loose to the quarterback in this play right here. Fake the handoff, fake the screen, and then I'll run it.
Yeah, I don't think that was designed very well.
Unlike Mark Sanchez against the Patriots last year, Rodgers held on to the football.
Kenny, you've been waiting for an opportunity all year to go after the Jets fans and Mark Sanchez.
It was an ugly play.
It was.
Third down and 5. Rodgers steps up, cuts to the outside, and has a first down. Much better.
Yes. This is very impressive. I mean, I thought he was in trouble. As he stepped back in, he's going to bait the 2 defenders that have an opportunity. I mean, he looks like he's toast at this one point right here. I mean, I don't know how he got out of that one. That's very Houdini-esque.
Houdini-esque. Here it is. Nice slide, though.
Smart slide.
Over, 5-5. Over 5-5. Green 18. Green 18.
From the 31, it's Lacey. Lacey gaining 3 down to the 28-yard line.
This run game, they are just being persistent with this, going, and one thing it is doing, look right up here, it is eating up the clock.
You know, the other thing, Goose, it's tiring out that front, and Mike McCarthy wanted to challenge them. He wondered about the depth in that defensive line. You know, we talked about Nick Fairley and Ndamukong Suh, but you know, how many other good guys are there? Remember, they've lost Kyle Vanden Bosch, Cliff Averill from last year, those 2 good edge players. You know, how are they depth-wise in that defensive line? He wanted to find out.
Hey, Papa. Papa.
2nd down and 7. Rodgers calls timeout. Second timeout taken by the Packers in the second half.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by AT&T. Rethink possible. By Bud Light, official beer sponsor of the NFL. And by Bank of America.
Makes me think of a quote that I read from Randall Cobb this week. You know, they were talking about receivers here in Green Bay with 100-plus catches, and he said, listen, records are made to be broken. Rings last forever, and you saw the Super Bowl trophies there in the Hall of Fame exhibit here at Lambeau Field.
Rodgers has a ring. 2nd down and 7. No flags. Nelson, the intended receiver. Mathis on the coverage.
Let's play ball. It's that back shoulder throw. You know, Jordy Nelson is going to have to come back through Rasheed Mathis to get to the ball. Or no? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he kind of grabbed him by the head and threw him to the ground.
They've been really letting him play there in that secondary. In this 3 or 4 in this game.
Now 3rd down and 7. Packers must get to the 21 for a first down. Finley, nice tackle again made by Levy. Stopped 4 yards shy of the big first down line, so another opportunity for Mason Crosby, who is 3 for 3 today.
We've talked a lot about the defensive line for Detroit, but DeAndre Levy and Stephen Tulloch, they're really good. I tell you what, they are. I mean, they fill any gap. It's unbelievable. Like Ndamukong said, if I'm wrong, hey, they got my back. They know what they're doing. I've been very impressed with their play this afternoon.
Here's Crosby, 42-yard attempt from the right hash. Mastay places it down. And Crosby, who was 4 for 4 over the first 3 games, is 4 for 4 today, and some more pushing and shoving.
Somebody get the kicker out of there.
19-3 Packers. With producer Barry Landis, director Brian Lilly, and our entire crew, Kenny Albert, Darryl Johnston, Tony Siragusa, from Lambeau Field, where the Packers have extended to a 19-3 lead over Ndamukong Suh and the Detroit Lions, who came in tied atop the NFC North at 3-1. The Chicago Bears are also losing 23-10 at home to the Saints. Spurlock will not take it out. Well, Fox, tonight, scariest night of the year comes early. You're listening, Goose. It's animation domination with all new Halloween episodes, including The Simpsons Treehouse of Horror. All new tonight, starting at 7, 6 Central, right here on Fox.
Getting your Halloween costume ready there, Kenny? Coming up pretty soon.
All set.
What are you going to be?
Can't let it out of the bag too early.
Let me guess, a play-by-play person.
That would really fool a lot of people. Lions start from the 20. And Bush again is thrown back for a loss, hit initially by M.D. Jennings and then Mike Neal has had a terrific game.
He really has. He really has. And it's the support from the outside. This is going to try to come up and bounce and watch the support. Rob Sims comes around, but there's M.D. Jennings right there to take it. Mike Neal.
Second down at 13. Stafford to Bush. Bush knocked out of bounds at the 22-yard line by House. Gain of 5. Green Bay defense, 4 sacks today. Stafford had been sacked only 3 times coming into this game. Third down and 8. Fans on their feet here at Lambeau. As Stafford throws and Durham makes the catch and has a Lions first down.
That's another good catch by Chris Durham. Good coverage by David House. Strong hands right at the catch.
Durham, we mentioned earlier, roommates with Stafford in college at the University of Georgia, originally drafted by the Seahawks. Penalty flag. And Stafford throws over the middle. It's Pettigrew. What a catch. Out of the 49-yard line. We'll check on the flag. 18-yard completion. Jerome Boger.
Offside, defense, number 76, lining up in the neutral zone. That penalty is declined. The result of the play is a first down.
He's been knocked down for drops throughout his career. Watch this catch for everybody. I really think he's turning the page. That's outstanding. I mean, that's grabbing the back end of the football.
Packers without Clay Matthews into his thumb earlier this quarter. Already lost 2 other linebackers earlier. So Green Bay well into their depth at the linebacker position.
And continue to play well, you know, especially against this running game of the Detroit Lions. Jim Schwartz said he was really happy with the way that his interior linemen played on both the offensive and defensive side of the ball against the Vikings and Bears. But today the Packers have been winning that battle down in the trenches.
Second down and 7. Stafford's pass is caught, taken for a first down. It's Pettigrew again. Under 8 minutes to play as we check in with Kurt.
Well, with Jake Locker out with that hip injury for several weeks, Ryan Fitzpatrick's the quarterback now in Tennessee, and look at how athletic he can be. 9-yard scramble for the touchdown, 17 unanswered for the Titans, who lead 17-13, trying to hand KC that first loss, Kenny.
All right, so the 4-0 Chiefs fall behind. Here's Stafford to a wide-open Joyke Bell. And he's finally tackled by Tramon Williams. Gain of 7 for Bell midway through this 4th quarter with the Lions moving the football, trailing by 16.
They've really picked the pace up down here on offense. And the receivers are responding. The offensive line is doing a great job of giving them time in the pocket. And he's seeing his receivers downfield. Something we thought we'd see earlier in this game.
On 2nd and 3, he was looking for Durham.
Well, they may have been roommates at Georgia, Kenny, but gotta throw and catch a little bit more to execute that back shoulder.
Doesn't click that time. Stafford's numbers today without Calvin Johnson, without Nate Burleson. Stafford on this drive is 5 of 6 for 50 yards. 3rd down and 3. Stafford rolling right on 3rd down. He throws, it's bobbled and dropped by Scheffler. Burnett and House on the coverage for Green Bay.
Tony's got to make this catch. You're moving the pocket, getting away from that rush. So that's the good design. Now, as you're flowing, he puts it on the back hip of Scheffler, 85. You can see there's the outside leverage. I've got to come to your back hip. Got to make that catch.
So now the Lions go for it on 4th down, trailing by 16. 57, and they cannot. Durham, the intended receiver, House on the coverage, no flags.
Yeah, this is one of the typical routes you see in this down and distance. You got to flatten a curl. Chris Durham can't keep his feet coming out of the break.
Today's game is sponsored by Pizza Hut. Prep for game day by ordering online from Pizza Hut. Make it great.
Crowd's been great today as always. Now this is one of the 2 gold package games during the regular season. It's the fans from Milwaukee. Packers have not played in Milwaukee since '94, but thousands of the season ticket holders who used to attend the Milwaukee games have the opportunity to purchase 1 preseason and 2 regular season games, the 2nd and 5th home games every season. Rogers on the toss. This is Lacey. And he fights his way back to the line of scrimmage. Sue on the tackle.
And this is where the run game of the Green Bay Packers is going to come into play. The ability to take time off the clock. Tony talked about it before. You know, early in the third quarter, you get into this situation. It's a 2-possession game if you're going to score a touchdown and get 2 two-point conversions. So to be able to go out there with this running game and burn some time off this clock.
Packers have rushed for 160 yards today against Jim Schwartz's defense. That includes a 67-yard run by Cobb. Rogers on the slant. And the catch is made out of the 38-yard line. Nelson slow to get up. 5 undefeated teams all playing on the road. 2 winning, 2 behind in the fourth quarter.
Surprised by Kansas City, got out 13-0. Ryan Fitzpatrick bringing him back. You heard Kurt give you the update there. Seattle, Indianapolis, obviously heck of a shootout there. That's been going back and forth all day.
How about Cincinnati, too? 13-6. Tough little team, Cincinnati.
Yes, they are. Ask the Packers. Let one slip away to Cincinnati.
Yep.
And of course, Denver will play later in Dallas. Rogers on 3rd down and 3, looking for Jones, who goes up, makes the catch. There is a flag. It's against the Lions.
This is a very close game this afternoon, except for the 2 big plays.
Defense, number 23. Spiral 5. Automatic. First down.
Made by James Jones in this second half. First one is a blown coverage and him wide open on the long touchdown pass. That's just excellent effort and concentration.
39 yards from Rogers to Jones, who caught the 83-yard touchdown pass earlier. The only touchdown of this game. Chris Houston flagged on the play. So a new set of downs for the Packers as we approach 5 minutes remaining in Green Bay. And this play is blown dead. More flags.
Delay of game. Offense, number 12. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
This will set the Packers back 5 yards. We've talked throughout the afternoon about the 22-game home winning streak over the Lions. Packers have also won their last 9 here at Lambeau, dating back to week 1 of last season when they lost to the 49ers. And how about Aaron Rodgers during his career against the Lions? Only 1 loss. That came at Ford Field. 18 touchdowns, only 5 picks coming into this game. First down at 15 following the delay of game. Here's Lacey. And Lacey takes it all the way down to the 22-yard line. Finally tackled by Tulloch, gain of 7.
Big second half for Aaron Rodgers. Remember, we checked in on he and Matt Stafford earlier in this half. He only had 105 total yards at that time.
83-yarder to Jones certainly helped his numbers.
And the big thing with him, he doesn't throw the interception. Against Cincinnati, he had 2. One was on him, one was on James Jones on the outside with a slant route going behind. But that's where Aaron Rodgers really separates himself.
Second down at 8. And Lacey is into the backfield. It's Fairley who comes through to make the tackle for a loss of 6.
Fairley almost took the handoff on that particular play. I mean, talk about penetration.
And a timeout is taken by the Lions. Watch number 98, Fairley, as Lacey falls on the football. Here's doing it with defense. One of 4 sacks of Matthew Stafford today. Matthews had the 4th. And Rodgers hitting James Jones, 83 yards. An attempt at a Lambeau leap. Almost a half leap for the game's only touchdown.
Yeah, they had the trampoline over there near the sidewalk. Oh, Lambeau leap. People think it's easy, man. That's about a 5.5-foot jump right there.
They needed a boost.
Yeah.
And the Packers have held Reggie Bush in check, 69 total yards. You look at the Packers total, almost half have come on 3 big plays, including 2 receptions by Jones and a 67-yard run by Cobb. Rodgers for Jones. He's got it. Touchdown.
Okay, the other thing that separates him besides the lack of interceptions is the ridiculous accuracy. Come on, one more try.
There we go. Get him up. Get him up.
Oh, man.
Come on.
Denied twice on the leap. There we go.
Hey, he's got it now, ladies and gentlemen.
4 times the charm, Goose.
Lambeau leap.
And this is just unbelievable location. My goodness.
That's the only spot he could have probably put it in.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
It is awesome. Awesome throw. Pretty good coverage, too. I mean, you don't want to spoil the touchdown, but coverage was there. It's just
safety's coming over. I mean, it's played well, defended well, but you can't stop that throw.
It's their job to shrink the space where they got that perfect throw has to be put in, and that's exactly where Aaron put it. Looks like the officials are going to go and check this out.
Every scoring play is going to be looked at. So, how is he as he gets into the end zone? Did he stay in bounds? Yes.
Well, did the second foot come down?
He was already across the plane?
Yeah, it looks like his foot was out on that one, guys.
Well, let's see if his first foot comes down before he reaches the end zone.
Oh.
So it looked like he did cross the plane.
Yeah, he crossed the plane with the ball before the second one went out of bounds.
Okay.
1 foot down there, his right foot.
That
Left
one's
foot
down
in
in.
bounds, cross the plane. Should be a touchdown. So Jerome Boger will take a look at it. James Jones caught an 83-yard touchdown pass earlier. Question is, when did he gain control? Did he get both feet down?
After reviewing the play, it is an incomplete pass. The receiver's second foot was out of bounds. We will go back to the 27-yard line and play 4th down.
We'll bring in Mike Pereira from Los Angeles. Mike, what did you see?
Yeah, I actually like that. The only question that I had was right here, the right toe. Was it still on the ground when he first got possession? But as he pulls it in there, it comes off the ground, and then eventually that second foot comes down out of bounds. So I think right decision here, it was an incomplete pass.
So, Mike, it's not. If he breaks the plane with the ball in possession with 1 foot down, that second foot still has to come down?
No. That is correct. You have to complete the process of getting both feet down inbounds because you have not become a runner at that point. All you have is just control of the pass.
Crosby hits from 45. Thanks, Mike. But as Mike mentioned, it was very close as far as whether or not his right toe was still on the ground when he first had possession. Jerome Boger did not think so, so it's a field goal, not a touchdown for the Packers right here as the right foot comes up, right toe comes up. It was ruled that he did not yet have possession.
Yeah, you forget about that he hasn't become a runner yet until this second foot comes down. Until that right foot comes down, that's when he becomes the runner after establishing possession, and that was out of bounds. So I was wrong, Kenny.
The Packers do put points on the board. Jones loses what he thought was his second touchdown of the game.
Still a heck of a throw.
(22-3) Green Bay. He'll take a look at that replay about, what, 15, 20 times this week?
He's wanting to know right now. He'll probably be over talking to the officials right after this so he can get an explanation even a little bit more in depth.
You can laugh about it when it's 22-3.
Exactly.
New Orleans now leads Chicago 26-10. Late fourth quarter. So it certainly appears as if Detroit will remain in a tie for first place with Chicago. Coming up after the game, it's the State Farm post-game show with Kurt and the gang. Under 4 minutes remaining, and Matthew Stafford without his two starting wide receivers today, Calvin Johnson and Nate Burleson. There's Calvin. Stafford has thrown for only 184 yards. Lions with 220 yards of offense. Reggie Bush, outstanding over his first 3 games as a Lion, held in check today. Stafford's pass caught by Pettigrew. Hawk on the tackle. As we check into Los Angeles with Joel Klatt. Joel?
All right, thank you, Kenny. And we go to New York, where Nick Foles is in for an injured Michael Vick. He goes up top to Brent Selleck, 25 yards for the score. Eagles up 29-21 over New York in the fourth. Kenny.
All right, thanks, Joel. Another injured linebacker for the Packers. It's Nick Perry, the fourth linebacker who has suffered an injury on the Green Bay side in this game. Perry with a sack earlier. And he is checked out by the Packers medical staff here with 3:43 on the clock.
Checking out his ankle right now.
Trying to get the shoe back on? Is he okay and just needs a shoe put on?
A lot of guys have put a shoe on.
Somebody gave him a flat tire, Goose.
Wow. That's good news for him.
And they couldn't lose another linebacker this afternoon.
Shoehorn on the sideline.
Matthews a thumb injury. They lost Jones. They lost Francois. This is Joyke Bell. And he picks up a first down for the Lions out to the 41-yard line.
You know, the Green Bay Packers haven't responded the way we thought they were going to. You know, with Calvin Johnson out, you could have loaded up that box and really shut this running game down, but you've got other guys out there in the passing game. They've played it kind of true. They've mixed and matched pretty good all game long.
Pass to the outside is caught by Edwards. Second down and 2 for the Lions, who averaged over 30 points per game over their first 4. They scored 40 in their last game against the Bears. But without a touchdown here today. Hawk on the coverage.
A.J. Hawk's really upset he didn't have this one. He's in perfect position. The ball's thrown right at him.
Only 8 receptions for the wide receivers. Stafford without Johnson, without Burleson. Third down and 2. And the catch is made by Scheffler for a Lions first down. Tony Scheffler to the Packers 34. Andy Malumba, and a linebacker for the Packers, rookie out of Eastern Michigan. From the 34 on first down. Stafford hit. And Riley Reif able to fall on it back at the 47-yard line. So Nick Perry with his shoe back on, able to knock it away from Stafford.
Have a really smart play by Nick Perry, not just going for the sack, but also for the fumble. Knocked that ball out of Matthew Stafford's hand. And they've been looking for that other person on the opposite side of Clay Matthews to get pressure on the quarterback. Well, I think they may have found him today.
Yeah, that's a nice tomahawk from the backside.
He's played well throughout the course of the game. Him, you know, there's been a couple of guys that have stepped up. Mike Neal's had a nice game.
When you do that, it's a sack and a forced fumble. So you get,
second sack for Barrington Akers.
yeah, that's a big play.
Well, it's the State Farm postgame show coming up following the Packers and the Lions. 2:17 remaining. Green Bay with 22 points as they look to extend their 22-game winning streak in Wisconsin over these Lions. Second down and 21 following the 5th Green Bay sack. Stafford over the middle. Hawk lost his helmet. There's a flag as Scheffler remains down. And now Scheffler helped up.
This might be on Chris Banjo, hit by that's number 32 coming in. Actually 22.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, defense, number 22. Hit on a defensive receiver. Half the distance to the goal. Automatic first down.
That's Jerron McMillan.
A.J. Hawk's helmet comes off again, too. He needs to get a new helmet. It's about the 3rd time today that helmet came off.
There's McMillan, who is flagged. So 1st and 10 from the Packers 13. Just over 2 minutes remaining. Stafford fires to the end zone. Touchdown, Chris Durham.
This is a good job by Matthew Stafford, opening his hips out to the outside. Really froze a lot of the defensive players in the middle of the field. Now, right before this throw, he had actually looked to the outside, actually opened his hips and everything, and then squares back to the inside to throw into the middle of the field.
Second NFL touchdown for Durham. Lions will go for 2. And look to cut this to an 11-point game. Bush, bottom of your screen. Now he goes in motion into the backfield. Off the fake toss to Bush. Stafford to the end zone, and it's broken up. Good play. Tramon Williams. So it's a 13-point Green Bay Packers lead with 2:06 to play.
Go back and take a look at the touchdown. Keep your eyes on Matthew Stafford. You're going to have, I think, a swing route to Joique Bell on the outside. That's where he opens it up, his hips to really freeze a lot of the defenders. Here's Chris Durham here working on the outside. That's where it's going to go to eventually. Look at that, just that little flick right there. Gets some people to bite. Gets that safety number 43, MD Jennings, to move down that way towards the sideline.
Eight-play, 80-yard drive. So the Lions with their first touchdown of the game. 1 timeout remaining for each club. David Akers has had pretty good success with onside kicks in his career. 40%. Off the fake. It is Jordy Nelson who comes up with the football. Fake left. Akers kicks it to the right.
It's a pretty well-designed bit of trickery on the onside kick and execution. Sam Martin does a good job staying onside as he fakes the kick. And then, as you pointed out, Ken, I mean, that's well done by David Akers. Gives you that chance on that big hop to the outside.
Lions with both kickers on the field, as you mentioned, the punter Martin, kicker Akers. Lions special teams coach is John Monabago, former special teams coach here in Green Bay from 2003 to 2005. Good idea, but Nelson on the recovery. And now with 2:04 remaining, Packers take over, leading by 13. Eddie Lacy cuts back up the middle. Lacy has a first down and more. There is a flag as he's finally tackled by DeAndre Levy.
A couple nice moves right there, Darryl.
A little bit of wiggle for the big man.
Yeah.
Offense, number 11. 10-yard penalty. Replay, first down.
Holding call on wide receiver Jarrett Boykin as we hit the 2-minute warning here in Green Bay. Packers lead the Lions by 13. Capacity crowd here at Lambeau Field. A new record. Packers added thousands of seats during the renovation this offseason. Over 80,000 on hand. We welcome those of you who have just joined us. Kenny Albert, Darryl Johnston, Tony Siragusa from Lambeau Field as Aaron Rodgers hands it off to Eddie Lacy with 1:45 remaining. Packers leading by 13. All 5 undefeated teams playing on the road. Saints go to 5-0. Seahawks trailing. Chiefs with a 3-point lead. Patriots now 4-1. Tom Brady's 52-game streak with a touchdown comes to an end. And following the Packers and the Lions, we will send you out to Indianapolis for the conclusion of the Seahawks and the Colts. On 2nd and 10, it's Lacy to the 38. We approach 1 minute remaining and head to Los Angeles. Joel Klatt. Joel.
All right, Kenny, let's get you caught up on that game that we'll be taking you to after the conclusion in Green Bay. Donald Brown, 3-yard touchdown run, his first of the season. The 2-point conversion was good. Luck to Reggie Wayne. And the Colts up 31-28. We'll get you out there in just a bit. Kenny, Moose, and Goose.
All right, thanks, Joel. Final minute. 4th quarter here at Lambeau. Eddie Lacy following that last carry now with 99 yards. If he gains a yard, Packers would have a 100-yard rusher. 3rd different 100-yard rusher in 3 games, but he will not have the opportunity as Rodgers takes a knee. And the Green Bay Packers make it 23. Well, now the Lions call timeout. Lions use their final timeout with 24 seconds remaining, but the Packers will make it 23 consecutive wins over Detroit in the state of Wisconsin. 20 here at Lambeau Field, 3 in Milwaukee. James Jones, 83-yard touchdown reception earlier for Mike McCarthy's Packers. Packers will go to 2-2, head to Baltimore to meet the defending Super Bowl champs next Sunday. Jim Schwartz and the Lions will remain tied atop the NFC North with the Bears at 3-2. Up next for the Lions, a trip to Cleveland next Sunday.
A little bit too much over to come today for the Lions, coming in and having Calvin Johnson out of the lineup. Offensively, they looked great on film. It was such a tough spot to put defenses into with Reggie Bush, and the running game really starting to hit its stride. And if you tried to take that away, you had to deal with Calvin Johnson on the outside.
Calvin Johnson inactive today due to the knee injury. Punt bounces into the end zone, so the Lions with 17 seconds remaining. Late flag. We've seen a number of flags on special teams today.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, receiving team, number 59. After the play was over, 15-yard penalty from the dead ball spot. First down, Detroit.
That's on to here, Whitehead. Last Lions win in Wisconsin, 1991. Calvin Johnson can only watch, shaking his head on the Detroit sideline.
Yeah, well, they were poised. If he's healthy, I think this is obviously a completely different game with Calvin Johnson in the lineup. And it would have been interesting to see if they were going to, you know, in this season, you know, get rid of the Washington situation they had. That's the second longest streak to an opponent at home. They got rid of that earlier this year. They beat the Bears last week after losing 9 of the last 10. You know, they really had put themselves in a position to potentially end this streak here today, but without Calvin Johnson in the lineup, it was going to be a very, very tall order for the Detroit Lions.
Bonus coverage, Seahawks and Colts coming up. No Calvin Johnson. Still no victories for the Lions in Wisconsin since 1991. 23 straight for the Packers. We'll return to Green Bay in a moment.